Hello, and welcome back to our channel. We're now ready to provide you with new information about GH, and we're really excited about it. What strikes me most is how Cullum's passing has created this new layer of obsession hanging over Port Charles. It's not just about justice or revenge anymore. It's like a shadow has fallen across the town, especially around Windermere. I've always admired how the writers weave personal stakes into the bigger mysteries, and here, they've done it brilliantly. Cullum wasn't just a threat. He was a manipulator who dug his claws into so many lives. His death confirms that the cycle of violence and secrets isn't ending. It's evolving into something more personal and intense. Of course, the immediate question on everyone's mind is, who did it? And right now, it looks like Valentine or Carly are the prime suspects. I've always had a soft spot for both of them. Valentine, with his complicated history and that sharp intellect, has grown into one of my favorite characters over the years. He's not perfect, far from it, but his determination to protect those he cares about feels authentic. Carly, bless her heart, is the fierce mama bear we've all come to love and sometimes shake our heads at. Finding Jocelyn's ring at Windermere must have ignited something primal in her. I can just picture her confronting Cullum. That moment when he told her he hadn't even started with her yet. Chilling, isn't it? If either one of them took him down while trying to rescue Jocelyn, I wouldn't blame them for a second. In fact, I'd cheer them on quietly. Let me tell you why this makes such perfect sense to me as a longtime viewer. We've seen Carly go to extraordinary lengths for her children before, and this feels like a natural escalation. Valentine, on the other hand, has his own reasons tied to old grudges and that lingering Faison connection. The way the story is unfolding, with Jens having fled and other threats neutralized, leaves Cullum as the last major obstacle standing in the way. It's almost poetic. But here's my personal take, and I know some fans might disagree. I don't think either Valentine or Carly acted entirely alone. There might be layers we haven't seen yet. Maybe an unlikely alliance formed in the heat of the moment. That would add such delicious complexity, don't you think? Another angle that fascinates me is Cassius. He's been such a breath of fresh air with his complicated ties to the West family. Cullum pushed him too far, especially with Liesel and Jocelyn in danger. Cassius has saved Jocelyn before, even though he started as her captor. That kind of redemption arc speaks to me. I've watched enough of these stories to know that when a man like Cassius starts forming real bonds with a nephew he never knew, and a woman who stirs something in him, he'll fight like hell to protect them. Killing Cullum to save them feels right in his character journey. Yet, it also raises heartbreaking questions about Britt and her need for that Huntington treatment. Life in Port Charles is never simple, is it? I keep asking myself, could Jen Sidwell be involved even from afar? The possibility that Cullum killed Marco adds another explosive element. If Jens discovered that, he'd have every reason to strike back. Or perhaps Cullum met his end in a confrontation with the police. Dante knows more than most about Cullum's double agent games with WSB and DVX. That secret alone could push Dante or even Sonny into action. Sonny has always operated by his own code, especially when family is threatened. These possibilities keep the tension so high that I find myself rewatching episodes just to catch every little clue I might have missed. What excites me most about this new chapter is how Cullum's death is amplifying the obsession with past crimes and opening doors to fresh troubles. The WSB won't let this go quietly. Their involvement creates this undercurrent of institutional danger that feels bigger than any single character. I've seen storylines like this before, where government agencies stir the pot, and it usually leads to shocking revelations that change everything. This time, it feels like it's hitting closer to home for Valentine and Carly especially. Their shared desire to save Jocelyn is noble, but it might paint targets on their backs. I worry for them, yet I'm also thrilled to see how their stories will intertwine. One thing I've noticed in my many years of following the show is how death often reveals hidden truths. Cullum's crimes are coming back to haunt the living in ways we probably can't fully anticipate. Will this lead to new alliances or bitter betrayals? I suspect both. And that's what keeps General Hospital so special. It's not just about who did what. It's about the emotional ripples that follow. Carly's fierce protectiveness, Valentine's calculated risks, Cassius's emerging humanity. Each one brings a different flavor to this unfolding drama. I have to admit, As someone who's watched through countless eras, this feels like a turning point. The writers are balancing high-stakes action with deep character moments, and it's working beautifully. I wonder if Jocelyn will emerge changed by her ordeal, stronger perhaps, or carrying new scars. And what about the younger generation, like Rocco? These stories affect them too, and I appreciate when the show remembers that. The heat is definitely on, and I can't wait to see what shocks await us in the coming weeks. There's something comforting about knowing that even in the middle of all this darkness, the heart of Port Charles remains its people and their connections. Cullum's death might close one chapter, but it's igniting so many more. I find myself rooting for justice tempered with mercy, for love to find a way through the chaos. That's always been the magic of this show for me. It mirrors life in its messiness and hope. The prime suspects still point strongly toward Valentine or Carly, and I can see why. Both have powerful reasons tied to saving Jocelyn. Carly, discovering her daughter's ring at Windermere, must have filled her with a mother's fierce rage, especially after Cullum's chilling threat that he hadn't even begun with her. Valentine, ever the strategist with his complicated past, has been determined to rescue Jocelyn and destroy lingering threats from the Faison era. Their shared drive to protect her makes them logical choices, and I find myself quietly rooting for them even as I wonder about the consequences. In my view, this shows how the writers understand loyalty and love in Port Charles. These characters aren't flawless, but their protective instincts feel true to who they've become over the years. Yet what truly has me captivated now is the strong possibility that Sidwell himself might be the one who killed Cullum. Think about it. If Sidwell learned that Cullum was responsible for Marco's death, that would ignite a fire like no other. Sidwell doesn't strike me as the type to forgive betrayal, especially one that hits so close to his own operations. I've seen enough mob and spy storylines over the decades to recognize when old alliances crumble into deadly grudges. This revelation adds such a satisfying layer of shock because it proves Cullum's crimes were catching up with him from multiple directions at once. It makes his death feel inevitable and richly deserved, yet it also plants seeds for even bigger chaos ahead. What concerns me, and excites me in equal measure, is how Sidwell seems ready to frame Sonny for the murder. That kind of calculated move is classic Sidwell, shifting blame to create maximum disruption. Sonny has always walked a fine line between his legitimate life and his more shadowy dealings, and being pinned for Cullum's death could drag him right back into the center of danger. I have a soft spot for Sonny after all these years. He's made mistakes, plenty of them, but his devotion to family and his sense of honor have kept me invested through every era. The idea that Sidwell would use Cullum's death this way feels like a deliberate escalation, and it sends a shiver down my spine thinking about the fallout for everyone involved. This framing attempt is expanding the war between Sonny and Sidwell in ways that feel both fresh and familiar. We've watched Sonny face powerful adversaries before, but Sidwell brings a different kind of cunning, one mixed with international intrigue and personal vendettas. The tension is mounting so quickly that I find myself pausing episodes just to absorb the implications. Will Sonny see through the setup in time? How will this affect his relationships with those closest to him? These questions keep me coming back, eager for the next revelation. In my long experience with the show, wars like this rarely stay contained. They ripple outward, touching innocent lives and forcing characters to make impossible choices. And then there's Dante. Poor Dante is carrying new burdens that seem heavier than ever. Knowing Cullum's secrets, especially his role in forcing Rocco to flee with Britt, has already placed a heavy weight on his shoulders. Now, with Sidwell potentially framing Sonny, Dante's obsessions and internal conflicts are rising to new heights. As a father and a dedicated police officer, he's torn between duty and family loyalty. I've always appreciated Dante's integrity. He tries so hard to do the right thing even when the lines blur, and this storyline feels like it's testing him in profound ways. Will he be forced to choose sides more clearly? Could this push him toward confronting Sidwell directly? Watching his struggle adds such emotional depth to the larger mystery, reminding me why character-driven drama remains the heart of General Hospital. One thing I love about this new chapter is how Cullum's death is fueling a broader obsession with past crimes and their consequences. The WSB's shadow looms larger now, their interest in Cullum's double agent history threatening to expose even more secrets. Valentine and Carly's efforts to save Jocelyn, while noble, might entangle them further in this web. I worry for them, yet I'm thrilled by the potential for powerful alliances or surprising betrayals. Cassius also remains a compelling figure in all this. His growing attachment to the West family and his feelings for Jocelyn give him strong motives too. His redemption journey feels authentic, and I hope the writers continue exploring it with care. As a longtime viewer who's seen countless twists, I believe this storyline is striking the perfect balance between high-stakes action and heartfelt moments. It proves that even after decades, General Hospital can still surprise us with fresh obsessions and escalating troubles. Sidwell's schemes against Sonny are heating up the canvas in the best way, while Dante's rising tensions add layers of police procedural drama that I always enjoy. The writers are crafting something that honors the show's history while pushing it forward. I keep asking myself what will happen next. Will the truth about Cullum's killer come out before more damage is done? How deeply will the Sonny-Sidwell war affect the younger generation, like Rocco and Jocelyn? These uncertainties make each episode feel urgent and alive. I'm optimistic that justice will find its way, perhaps tempered with the forgiveness and growth we've come to expect in Port Charles. The connections between characters, the enduring loves and loyalties, are what make the darkness bearable and the triumphs meaningful.